Oh, wow. There are lots of changes, lots of challenges. So in one sense, the poverty, we didn't eradicate poverty. We gave people more tools and some help them see some options in homemaking and in placemaking. But poverty continued to be a challenge. And from the 80s to the 90s and moving forth into the early 2000s, there was this I'd say increase in predatory businesses. Predatory lending for sure changed housing for us. It made what we did more complicated. People were more distrusting because so many people were getting burnt. Um, what's the term? We would call them tote the note mortgages, but deed in lieu of trust, deed contracts in lieu of deed uh, became really popular, and they competed with what we were doing. They were making it easier than it was, and people were losing. I mean, people were in homes for 6 months or a year and then losing them. And the grapevine is just is hard when that news travels fast, and it's even more insidious in with our Spanish speaking only neighbors. All they know is that it was hard to trust. Now we had a core group of members in the neighborhood association and our homeowners. We were able to keep those relationships pretty intact, but it's the broader community. Polly was very dynamic, very transient. It was one of the most transient neighborhoods in the city. So people were constantly moving in and out, and the grapevine about that kind of tote the note deeds, that rent to own, all those kind of scams made it very hard. And then you have pawn shops, you have rent-a-tire, you have a number of what I call predatory services and they're all right. They're legal, right? They're all legal, but they're all exploiting vulnerable, poor populations. So just, I mean, from paying astronomical prices for televisions, for a set of tires, all preying upon people because they did not have other alternatives. We tried to expand micro enterprise, micro loans. We participated in another national HUD program targeting micro loans. Cannot think of the exact tag name for that, but it was about micro loans at a smaller scale loans, but it fit the bill for residents in Poly. And we got some traction, but it was hard to sustain. The competition was fierce, and the competition is what I would call predatory businesses, predatory financing. The pawn shops, the rent-a-tires, and so on and so on. The tote the note cars and tote the note mortgages kind of approach. So consumer education, we tried to reinforce even more. So financial literacy expanded to include much more consumer education. And it's always very tricky. People don't tend to have a high attention span for a lot of that, especially when they're trying to work, raise a family, and it's already hard. So we had to be very, very brief and very to the point. But that was a huge change.